Finally, good morning, my Teaserking family. I tried to get on about 4 times. It was saying try again, and it would go spin. I'm going live for 10 minutes. So finally, I'm here. Gold's actually 33.13. Silver 33.47. Not too bad. All right, sorry about that. I had to send my Darius thing out. I haven't heard from Daria, and it'll be a week tomorrow, but I think I'm figuring her out. All right. So paper gold 33.12. It got up to 33.20, and then the small drops, the 8 o'clock drop, 33.10 to 32.95, and then quickly back up. So they're just playing games. And you can see just before 10, it dropped. So the US buys it at 32.99 instead of 32.10, and now it's 33.13. I'm expecting to be in the 33.20s today. Maybe it hits 33.30. Asia's not doing the buying they did. This happened at 2 o'clock when it went from there. But look at Asia. They didn't really, they're more selling than buying. I don't know why. And then Europe's the one kind of knocking it up. 30. So, but Europe's more buying and the US is more buying and China's more selling. So I think we can get a 33.30 today. We had 33.20. And because the US needs it, so they have to buy because they're all done. Comex will go away. They'll have to buy it from China and Russia and Dubai, and it's going to be a lot more expensive. Because if you have 60,000 tons of gold, the one thing you want is a higher gold price, period. Anyway, so, when we fairly 99% know it's going to 5,000. You do get a little anxious when you see it down at 31.20, and you're going, what the fuck's going on here? This should never go under 3,200. And it quickly went back, as I said, and now it's like, yeah, this is where it should be, 33.12, on its way to 3,500. So it goes up a little bit because of comex, because of the paper derivatives. So in the title, I say physical is 100 times more because nobody sold 1 ounce of gold in this mess, right? There's no selling of gold or silver. Look at silver 33.48. I don't know if we can get to 35, even though there's a ton of buying and no selling, we can't get there. The reason they use comex is because it's spot, and we know this price is so fucked up that it's nothing. So it's not even a real price. So if I can buy gold at 33.12, I will. That's why I come to comex to buy it. But otherwise, they're just dumping it. Anyway, there's not an ounce of gold that was sold at 4 in the morning, at 6:30 in the morning, at 8 in the morning. Nobody's selling gold. Because if you do, you got to go back in the dollar, and nobody wants to go back in the dollars. That's why you're buying gold, is to get out of the dollar. I love when people just totally misread gold and think, well, it's only good when the dollar's bad. No, gold is good anytime if you wouldn't price fix it and you just let it run like the Mantle cards that I show you, or the Lemieux cards. If you just do that, let me get my cards. So like this card, the Aaron card, it doesn't ebb and flow. Let's say it's a 9, it's about 60,000. It doesn't go to 40 and 20 and 60 and 100 and 60 and 40. It's 60. It stays at 60. Maybe it pushes up to 70. It doesn't ebb and flow. The only card I see that ebb and flow is the Ted Count Tom Brady rookie card, where the guy doesn't know what it's worth because there's only 10 of them. It's a PSA 10, so he's got it marked at 6 million, at 4 million, but he doesn't know where his market's at. It's not, people aren't selling it for that. But this doesn't ebb and flow. In physical world, these cards are not ebbing and flowing. These cards are getting a price, and that's it. The Montana card, 110 grand for the PSA 10 rookie. It doesn't ebb and flow. There's different markets. There's a 90,000 market, 100,000, a 140,000 market, but the price really doesn't go. And so when people look at gold like this, it's not going up and down. It's the options. It's all derivatives. So these idiots can make 5 cents on an option. And then they're all going to lose their ass shorting silver at 25 and gold at 3,000. It'll never get down to short. Why are you shorting when the demand's huge? You should be buying it, not shorting it. So you're hoping the price goes down. What are you, an idiot with all the buying? Anyway, just really strange. So hopefully no internet issues. Sorry, yesterday I was had to take Alyssa to her doctor, and she's probably the only person in Michigan who is old enough who doesn't have a car. So I don't know. I keep saying I'll take you to get your driver's license. She just needs the road test, but she doesn't want to do it because then she'd have to drive herself and use her own gas. And I don't know. It's crazy. So anyway, so sorry about that. I had a great day on baseball on the 19th. What's today? Wednesday. On Monday, I think I had one loser. No, I had maybe 2 losers. I think I hit Milwaukee over 9, the Niners under 7.5, Arizona over 10. My loser was Tampa Bay and Oakland over 9.5, and I hit everything else. My plays were Milwaukee over 9, Philly, Frisco under 7.5, Arizona. So I go 4-0, and then we'll make our play today. But I was like, Alyssa goes, well, do you do that every day? And I go, I can't, because I'm taking the pitchers and the hitters and their averages. So like yesterday, Skubal was pitching for Detroit against a pretty good pitcher for St. Louis. But I thought, this is not an under game, it's an over, because Skubal is giving up, he's giving up a lot of runs lately, 4 and 5 in a game. So he's not like shutting you out, even though his ERA's in the 2s. It's really, see, the ERAs get phony because they're in the low area is an average, right? Earn run average. So it's if Fetty yesterday had the last 5 games had given up 1 run or less, but then against the Yankees or Philadelphia or somebody gave up 7 runs. So that skews your ERA. But if you looked at it, it'd be 6 good games and 1 bad one. So you take the averages and hope it's a good one. But Skubal, he's not. It's not everything's a shutout. Anyway, that's what's going on there. But we'll get into baseball later. So again, paper gold's now 33.10, but it's safely in the 33s. Silver 33.43, safely in the 33s, but it can fall just as easily. Let's see what the Dow's doing today. The Dow is down $345 to 42,333. I don't know how it's there. If you're in the market, you're going to get your ass kicked. So you better get out of the market. I was talking to somebody on LinkedIn, and they, with the crypto and Joe Blow's analysis and this trend analysis, and I go, they don't work. You can't use trend analysis because of the variables. And it takes somebody like me to understand that it doesn't work because of the variables. Because how do you plug in all these variables into this, right? You can't. Which I learned from football. Like I say, I usually use Tom Brady as the example. When Brady went from New England to Tampa, you couldn't use any of the New England or Tampa trends. You had to throw away the New England because they were with Brady. He's not there anymore. Tampa wasn't with Brady, so you got to wait about 7-8 games with Brady to then use Tampa Brady trends. So the variable move, that's the key part that AI will never figure out, that these trend models, this person saying, oh, this guy used to work at BlackRock. I go, oh, well, then he's a criminal. I don't listen to anybody from Soros or BlackRock because they're just criminals, right? What they're trying to do to everybody doesn't sit well with me. So I wouldn't listen to anybody who worked at BlackRock. He's a schemer. He's a gamer. I was watching the Joker Batman, and look where that got. They were schemers. When Dent's in the hospital after the face thing. But anyway, that's the problem. You've got to realize all the variables, which you can't. And again, I tried to tell Nick wanted to do his analysis mathematically, and I go, you can't do it. You can't use technical, and I don't know what formula you're going to write in. It is not going to work. And I'm not aware that he could do anything. I know he can't. He can try. But see, I figure it out with intuition and INFJ. That's what I told the person. I said, I'm an INFJ. I use intuition and understanding variables as the way to analyze, not mathematical formulas, because I realize that they don't work. And that's really the key to it. All right. So let's get to some baseball. 5:21. Well, let's look at yesterday's games, even though I didn't give you any. The Cubbies over Miami 14-1. I would have played it over because both teams can hit. Pittsburgh won, Cincinnati nothing. I did like the under there. Washington, Atlanta, 5-3 Washington. I don't know if the over covered. I would have played it over. Boston and the Mets, I would have played it. I think it was 2 good pitchers. Boston wins 2-0. Tampa and Houston. These teams are giving me problems. I don't know what they are. Tampa 3, Houston 2. The Yankees 5, Texas 2. I would have played it over, which I wouldn't have gotten. Well, depending on the pitchers, but probably over. So the Yanks win 5-2. Toronto 3, San Diego nothing. Bassett and Cease. This I did like under because Cease is pitching a lot better and Bassett's with the 2.83 ERA. So this game I would have played under, and it was 3-0 Toronto. Milwaukee 5, Baltimore 2. Logan Henderson 3-0 with a 1.69 against McDermott. So yeah, that was a Milwaukee play. The White Sox in Seattle. I would have played Seattle for sure. Hauser and Casey Lawrence. Chicago wins 1-0. Okay, so I watched the Tigers play the White Sox. So when I'm on the bike at the club, I'm watching the Tigers. That's it. It's on FanDuel. I don't even know where it is. I'm certainly not going to pay for FanDuel to watch the Tigers. You got to be kidding. So the White Sox win 1-0. All of a sudden they got pitching. They still can't hit. That I can go to the box score and see they can't hit. So 1-0 White Sox, very surprising since Seattle swept San Diego. And that's the point. It doesn't transfer. So how are you going to analyze that? Well, Seattle's on a 3-game win streak. I'll bet Seattle will beat the White Sox. That's one of those things from The Big Short where the girl's playing blackjack and everybody's betting on her. And that would have been here. Everybody would be betting on Seattle because they just swept San Diego, who's probably the first or second best team in the league. And the White Sox win 1-0 because it's the matchup. They couldn't hit the pitcher, obviously. They didn't score any runs. Detroit 5, St. Louis 4. And here's what I'm talking about. You had Skubal against Feedy. Skubal with a 2-something gives up 4 runs, and Feed with a 3-something gives up 5. It's a 9. I'm sure the over-under here was maybe 7.5 or 8. And a 5-4 game. The starter for St. Louis was terrible. I mean, he gives up a home run. He threw the ball right down the middle. It just went straight right down the middle. He gives up a home run. You're like, is this guy serious? And they're trying to say, well, it was supposed to be a cutter that didn't cut. No, it was a fastball that just stayed there. It was a terrible pitch. Philly 7, Colorado 4. Yes, I love Philly. Lozano 5-0 with a 1.95 against Sanzati, 1-8 with a 6.34. So this one, according to our analysis, the stud wins, and it's 7-4 Philly, and that's exactly what we thought. Colorado's starting to hit a little bit more. The Niners 3, KC 2. Otis Birdsong 2-0 with a 1.91 against Michael Lorenzen, 3-5 with a 3.77. Probably it looks like an under. Neither of these teams are hitting. So, yeah, it's a 5. California swept the Dodgers. I did like them 7-5 over Oakland. Kyle Hendricks. So this would have been an over game because both pitchers have 5 ERAs. They scored 12. And Oakland can hit. I don't know about their pitching. And California started to hit against the Dodgers, but now I question the Dodgers pitching. See, the Dodgers are loaded with hitting, but just like the NFL, it's the defense that wins, and the defense is the pitching. And if you don't have pitching, you're not winning anything. And then the Dodgers, Arizona, 4-3 in the 10th. I don't know who I would have played here. Interesting game, but the Dodgers did beat Arizona, even though they lost to California. All right, so let's go to today. Now that we have the information, Cincinnati and Pitt. Cincinnati 130-8. Brady Singer 5-2 with the 5.01 against Andrew Haney 2-3 with the 3.02. They just play low-scoring games, so I'm just going to go Pitt under. I'm not going to buck the trend. They just don't score. We did lock Scanes last week, and it was a 1-0 game, so we did that one perfectly. Here's where it gets a little hard. Brady Singer 5-2 with a 5.01. Andrew Haney 2-3. So you think Pitt can hit him, but Pitt can't hit. So we'll go under the 8. That's a 12:35 game, so you got a half hour on that. This is Wednesday, right? What's with all that? Houston, Tampa. Houston 155 and 8.5. Tampa won yesterday. But my man Hunter Brown's going 6-2 with a 1.43 against Ty Brady, 3-3. So we're gonna go Houston, and this feels like a 2-unit. I'm just all over Hunter Brown, 6-2 with the 1.43. We went with them last time. I'm just gonna play it hot. So that's, you want to ride the good, but the Verlanders and the Scherzers and stuff like that. Bob Gibson. The Cubs at Miami. Right off the bat, this should be high scoring. Let's see who the pitching is. Cubs 145-9. Cade Horton for the Cubs, 2-0 with a 6, and Max Mayer 3-4, 4.57. This will be our 3-unit of the day. The Cubbies over 9, 3-unit. Both teams are hitting, right? Miami's got 6 or 7 hitters too, and that's just good. The odds on hitting and scoring runs are better with better averages because they obviously are getting more hits than the guy hitting 150, wondering why he's in the major leagues. So over Cubs, over 9, 3 units. That's a 110 start. Baltimore, Milwaukee. Baltimore is 15-32, fired their manager. I don't know it's the manager's fault. It's usually the GM's fault when he let like the one pitcher go. How is their hitting? When I look at their hitting, it's terrible. They got 3 hitters. So they've got 3 hitters. They're not just, is it the manager's fault? Maybe it's his fault for batting the guys who are hitting under 200. I agree with that, or the lefty-righty bullshit, but I don't like that lefty-righty. If I got Ted Williams, am I not playing him against the lefty? Or Joe DiMaggio? Well, you can't play against the righty, or Derek Jeter, or Mantle. Didn't matter. He switch hit. Roger Maris, yeah, no, he's a lefty. Roger, you can't go for home run number 61 today, or Babe Ruth. I mean, it's ridiculous. See, that's where the analytics fail. Is it's just a blatant average. Lefty against lefty, they take a big macro look at it, and the managers are stupid enough to listen to it. That's why the managers, 3 of them, have gotten fired already. Just like in football, that's you're getting 7 coaches fired a year because they're listening to analytics instead of coaching. And that's the problem. All right. So what do we do? Baltimore, Milwaukee, Patrick 2-4 with 3.35. Sugana for Baltimore, 4-3 with the 3.08. We got to go under 8. There's no hitting in this game. The other thing is, as I get more information, and now they've played almost 50 games. Now, when I see averages, they're more meaningful than in the first. That's why I said we got to wait a month to even start this because we have no idea. Detroit at St. Louis. Detroit 32-17. Cardinals 27-22. Detroit 105, 8.5. Huh? Brant Hunter 1-0 with a 2.35. Never heard of the guy, and I'm in Detroit. Andre Palante 4-2 with a 4.11. Bryant Hunter. Georgia Tech, boy. We weren't good enough to get to Georgia. This is a reliever. So this guy will go an inning. This is the stupid lineup. St. Louis has been hitting the ball well. I'm going to go over 8.5 here. Now, Detroit's been very, very inconsistent. Against Toronto, they scored 1 run. They scored 2 runs. They scored 1 run in the first game of St. Louis. Then yesterday, they scored 5 runs. They're all over the place, and I know it's based on pitching. And the Palante 4-2 with the 4.11. We'll see. You just don't know what Tiger team's going to be. You don't know what lineup you're going to have. The manager's so stupid. This guy, the shortstop, Baez, is hitting like 315 and he didn't play the other day. Like, what are you doing? Because he'll end up hitting 200. So while he's hot, you got to play him. And when and then, so he's just a stupid manager. If you're on a streak, you don't stop the streak. So I think this is an over game. I like St. Louis as a dog also at minus 105. So they're probably a plus 105 in St. Louis. Seattle and the White Sox. Seattle minus 158.5. Logan Evans 2-1 with the 257. Shane Smith 1-3 with the 205. Now, as we mentioned, Chicago won yesterday 1-0. Chicago has no hitting. The White Sox have one hitter, and Seattle has two hitters. So you're really looking at no hitting at all and two decent pitchers. 2-1 with the 257 and 1-3 with the 205. So this is going to go under. We're going to go the White Sox under 8.5, and this will be 2 units. So I like, and I'm looking at yesterday, and it was a 1-0 game. So I'm going, okay, they're not hitting. Chicago's pitching better, so let's go with that. You can't look at the record 15-34 as much as you look at the pitching and the hitting. The record is the record, but this is a single game, so you really ignore the record. Even in football, a team was 10-2 playing a team that's 3-9. It doesn't mean the 10-2 team's going to win just because they got a better record. It's quarterback and defense and the coach. So I'll take Sean Payton any day over a 10-3 team if he's 3-9, but he won't be 3-9 because he's Sean Payton. Cleveland, Minnesota. Cleveland minus 102, 7.5. This game was postponed or suspended a couple of games ago. Gavin Williams, 3-2 with the 4.29 against Chris Paddock, 2-3 with the 4.05. Could either of these teams hit? Minnesota has 4 hitters. Cleveland has 5 hitters. 2 bad pitchers, 7.5. We'll go over 7.5 here. Mini over 7.5. You really can't play the game. Both pitchers are in the low 4s ERA wise. So it's not like you can bet one pitcher over the other. Kansas City against San Francisco. Frisco minus 220, 7.5. This game was low scoring yesterday. Daniel Lynch the 4th. I never heard of him. 3-0 with a 1.29. My guess he's a bullpen guy. I mean, I go through these names every day. I never heard of Daniel Lynch. Yeah, he's a bullpen guy. I love when they start the bullpen guys. Yeah, great managing, fellas. Logan Webb 5-3 with a 2.42. So I don't know what to do with the bullpen with KC. Can they hit? KC's got 5 hitters, and the Niners got 3 hitters. And at the 49ers, big favorite. Yeah, we're going to take San Fran here. I think they win at home. Atlanta and Washington. This will be a good football game. Penix against Daniels. Atlanta minus 168.5. AJ Smith-Sawyer 3-2 with a 2.33. Now I know he's a starter. Trevor Williams, I know he's a starter. 2-5 with the 5.91. I'm going to take Atlanta here, and we'll go 2 units. I think Penix will get hot in this game. The Mets and Boston. This was a 2-0 game yesterday. Boston minus 145.8. Tyler McGill, 3-4 at the 3.74. Garrett Crockett or Crochet. I thought he pitched yesterday. 4-3 with the 2.0. This was a 2-0 game yesterday. Now against Atlanta, they were hitting 15-run games. Here come the Mets in who can hit, and it was 2-0 yesterday. Crochet, McGill. Yeah, we can go under. Boston under 8, but I'm not going to bet it because it's in Boston, and I don't want to bet it. You can't make me. Texas and the Yankees. The Yankees won yesterday, 5-2 or something like that. Texas 105, 7.5. Texas favored. You got Jacob deGrom 4-1 with a 2.29 against Ryan Yarbrough 1-0 with the 3.70. Is he a bullpen guy? Well, he was, and then the last two games he pitched 4 innings and 5 innings. So I think he's a bullpen guy that's now starting because of injuries. So I'm taking Texas here with DeGrom, and we'll go 2 units. They're not going to hit him. San Diego and Toronto. I had this game yesterday. Dylan Cease against a good pitcher for Toronto. Dylan Cease has got a high ERA, but it's all bullshit because the first couple of games he didn't pitch well. Since then, he's been pitching really good. So you kind of got to go look at the last 5 or 6. I do that in football, where a team gives up 30 points the first 2 or 3 games. And then we're in week 10, and the last 7 games, they haven't given up 20 points. Their average is still showing 25, but the reality is they're not. You're not getting 14 on them. So then it becomes a good under. Or like the Lions, they had a low defense, but you could see the last 5 games they're giving up 30 points a game. They're a 30 defense. And again, it's who do you play? So in college, we take out the high school team, right? Oh, they played San Jose State. No, not even that. They played Arkansas State, some Sun Belt team, or North Dakota State or something, some junior high team. And so you can't count it. It's not like you're playing Michigan or Ohio State. All right. So San Diego, Toronto's a 168.5. Randy Vasquez, 3-3, 3.45. Kevin Gausen, 3-4 at the 4.59. This spells an over. We're gonna go over SD over 8.5. No bet, but we should get there. Philly, Colorado. Taiwan Walker, 1-3 with a 2.62 against Carson Palmquist. 0-1. Here's our lock. Philadelphia. 3 units. And, they're only a 220 favorite. They should be like a 500 favorite. Taiwan Walker, 1-3 with a 2.62. Colorado ain't going to hit. The over-under is 11.5, but that's the starting pitcher in Colorado's got an 11.25 ERA. So look for Philly to win like 10-3 or something like that. California and Oakland. Oakland minus 175, 10.5. Both teams are even, 22 wins, 25, 26 losses. Jack Cole, this is the worst guy in the league who beat the Dodgers. So I don't know what to say. 3-5 with the 4.71. JP Sears 4-3 with the 3.31. I got to go with Oakland here. And we'll go 2 units. I mean, the guy was terrible against the Tigers. He couldn't throw a strike. And how did he beat the Dodgers? I don't know. But California, I don't know. They lost, I think, yesterday. Oakland beat them. And our last game, Arizona and the Dodgers. The Dodgers seem to be an over team. Score a lot and don't hit. When they don't hit, they lose. The Dodgers 145.9. Here you go. Corbin Burns, 3-1 to 2.56. Dustin May. All right, we're going to take Arizona. And over under 9. We'll go 2 units with Corbin Burns. He's been pitching very well. 3-1 with a 2.56. He'll shut out the Dodger hitting, which leaves then Arizona, who can hit pretty well. Arizona's got, they can't hit real well. They got 2 hitters. Dodgers aren't going to hit well tonight. So, this might be an under game. Let's change it to under. Arizona under 9. So, either flavor is fine. All right, so let's go through this again. We got Pitt under 8, which is starting soon. Houston, 2 units. The Cubbies over 9, 3 units. Milwaukee under 8. St. Louis over 8.5. The White Sox under 8.5. Minnesota over 7.5. San Francisco, Atlanta, Boston under 8. Texas, San Diego over 8.5. Philly, Oakland, and Arizona will go under 9. The bets, Houston, the Cubbies over 9. The White Sox under 8.5. Atlanta Texas, Philly, Oakland, and Arizona under 9 are all, well, they're not all, say 2 units. The Cubs are over 9 is 3, and Philly is 3, and the others are 2. So again, it's Houston, the Cubs over 9, White Sox under 8.5, Atlanta, Texas, Philly, Oakland, and Arizona under. Those are our bets: 2, 4, 5, 8. And again, these are not planned. I don't know what I'm going to do until I see the game. I might have 1, I might have 10 plays. And today, 8 plays, I'll probably go 5 and 3. But there's no consistency to it. You can't bet the Philly defense. You can't bet Mahomes. You can't bet Burrow over. You can't bet Daniels over. We can look at certain pitchers, Scanes, and bet them under or to win, but we can't really, that's all we have. So when you get to Andrew Haney and Brady Singer, there's not a lot you can do. All right, that game starts at 12:30. It's 12 o'clock now. All right, let's go to the NBA, and I see Oklahoma City killed yesterday. So Oklahoma City, I think, was laying 7 roughly. They win 114-88. That's what I expect is game 1, the home team winning, especially you've got a 1 against 6. Oak City will win this series. I don't know if we can go back and forth on it because I think Oak City's just going to dominate. Game 2 should be Minnesota as they came off a loss. They're trying to get a split, but the way Oak City is playing, I don't think I think game 2 goes to Oak City, and then game 3, Minnesota back against the wall is the one we'll bet. You got to be careful now. The better team tends to win. What's going on here, fellas? Yahoo's hung up. I think it's the Knicks against Indy. It's in New York. It's got to load the ads, so we got to wait for that. It's crazy. All right, we got Indy, New York. We got New York minus 4.5, 222. I don't know the totals. I haven't. Like here, I see Oklahoma beat them pretty good yesterday. So what does it tell you, though? One team got 120 and the other team got like 90. So you don't know. I think Indy's a high-scoring team. I don't know what the Knicks, I think, are fairly high-scoring. In New York, now, as I just said, normally the home team wins game 1. I don't know I can say that with New York and Indy, that New York's that dominant over them. This is a wait-and-see game. New York 4.5. My guess would be New York covers. Maybe you go over. Again, we got to see the teams. And then we bet the loser. Now here, we're going to bet the loser back in game 2. So if Indy gets the win, we'll bet New York. If New York gets the win, and after New York beating Boston and Indy beating Cleveland, I don't know what to do because so what you're saying is they're better than the 1 and 2 seeds. That doesn't make sense how they're 1 and 2 and the 3 and the 4 kill them. New York goes to Boston, beat Boston game 6 by 30 points. So it's a little different. New York didn't want to go back to Boston for game 7. Here, this is game 1. There's no juice. There's no I have to win. Nobody needs to win this game. But whoever does win it, the other team will cover game 2 because their backs are against the wall. They don't want to go down 2-0. If it's New York, especially not. If it's Indy, then, if they lose that, okay, we're supposed to lose the first two, we'll go home. The Knicks, if they lose game one, then if they lose game two, they go to Indy for 3 and 4, and they could be done. So, from a betting standpoint, we want Indy to win game one, and then New York will be our bet in game two. But I don't know. I wouldn't bet the game. Maybe an over 222. Again, basketball is so hard because they're just launching up threes, and if they're hot, they go over, and if they're not hot, they go under. And there's terrible coaching going on, and we'll just keep shooting 3-pointers. Look how stupid Milwaukee is. They had that guy, Montenegro or whatever, and he was shooting outside. He's 7 feet. You wonder why they didn't get past the first round the last 5 years. That's why, because if he's cold, there's nobody to rebound. He needs to be under the basket grabbing the rebound. That's why he's 7 foot, what you do with a 7-footer. Wilt, Kareem, Bill Walton, Kevin McHale, they're there to get the rebound and tap it back in with very high percentage shots. You don't want these guys shooting 3-pointers. Maybe in the paint they get the ball and they put up a 7-8 footer or something. I mean, Wilt couldn't shoot free throws. You want him to shoot 3-point shots? Come on. Just stupid. Kareem was okay with free throws, not great. He's more of a rhythm player, wanted to do the sky hook. Wilt just wanted to power you. Bill Walton was pretty good. Lanier, he could shoot. He had a hook shot. But you want the big guys under the basket. So whoever thinks that you want a big guy shooting 3 points, go mow lawns or paint houses for a living. You're not a coach. You have no concept. If your big guys are shooting threes, then go away. Stop coaching. It's like these guys who do the YouTube on gold and they don't understand what inflation is, and they don't understand is paper gold. But when you get those guys, just go get it. Don't quit your day job because you don't know what the hell you're talking about. So here, I don't know. New York, I think, has good guards. Indy, I don't know. I haven't seen one Indy game, and I won't see this because it's on TNT, and I don't have TNT. It's so stupid that basketball is not on CBS or NBC, whatever, Fox, whatever their channel is. Why aren't all these games on something that you can watch? This whole pay-per-view thing or this whole pay app thing is ridiculous. I'm on here for free doing live chats because I want more people to see me. I don't want to be on TNT or FanDuel. The Tiger games are on FanDuel. What the fuck is that? I mean, it's just they've lost their cons. That's why attendance is down. I don't even know what the games are on. I could walk by this Montenegro guy, and I wouldn't even know what he looks like, or any of the Pistons, I wouldn't know. I doubt anybody's got really good players anyway. Steph Curry, I might know. That would be about it. I was surprised that whatchamacallit, who's the other guy with Steph Curry, the other forward. His dad played. Klay Thompson. Why did he leave Golden State? I mean, he's an idiot. I mean, there's a good situation, and then you jump for the money. It's stupid. I did that. I was at Vistion, and I was contract, and then I got hired as a controller at some freight company. And it was a huge mistake because it was a totally different environment. The people had no idea what they were doing at the freight company. My job, I was about 70% I knew, and the other 30, I'm like, what do you want me to do? I don't even understand it. And I love when I get a manager who says, well, you worked at GM, you should know what to do. And I'm like, what are you talking about? We did have an interview, right, lady? All right. Anyway, so I like New York over Indy. I think game one, a slight edge to New York. They want to win at home, and the home team usually does better. So New York beat Boston. So let's go small New York, but I really probably the over 222. But really, we're just laying for game two. We're just the loser. We're betting game two. NFL news. Um, let's see. I'm so sick of this Travis Hunter guy. Like, seriously? Tush push survives. His proposal to ban play does not pass. It's a stupid play. It's not. It's not even football. It's rugby. What the fuck are they doing with it? Why is it allowed? You can't push players. It's a stupid rule. Uh, it needs to go. I don't really understand it. It's not even football. NFL fails to approve the ban. It's just stupid. Flag football. Are you kidding me? NFL players playing flag football. I don't know what's stupider. NFL players wanting to play flag football or flag football as an Olympic event. What is it? Flag football. Oh, we don't want to get anybody hurt. I guarantee you're going to get more injuries than that. What a stupid concept and the whole thing. And NFL players, sorry, you're not playing in that. Did the 49ers make a mistake in signing Brock Purdy to 260? See, I don't get this. Can't you negotiate? So they gave him what for 5 years, 50 million for 5 years or something. Was that a mistake? No, you need a quarterback. So either he's your quarterback, he got you to the Super Bowl. I would have not offered him 265. I would have offered him less. Like I hear the Lions on the radio and they go, well, we got to sign these players and we can't sign this guy and we can't sign this guy. And I'm like, maybe just offer him a little less. If he wants to stay on the team, he'll take that home team discount. So that's where I'm at with it. You don't have to pay the guy, uh, well, because see, now it's like the owners are retarded. It's like because somebody makes 20 million as a quarterback, you got to pay your guy 20 million. I don't have to pay my guy 20 million. Well, that's the market. No, that's not the market. That's one team paid one quarterback 20 million or 30 million. Doesn't mean I have to pay my guy 30 million. Well, that's the market. No, that's not the market. That's what one idiot owner paid. And I would tell the guy to walk. I'd say, this is my offer to you. If you don't like it, go find another team. And if it's like Jared Goff, good luck because you're going to suck at the other teams. Lions scrap playoff reseeding proposal ahead of vote due to lack of support. Oh, so the Lions are crying because of their record that they think you should be seeded by record not winning your conference. And I disagree with that. It should be, you should get rewarded for winning your conference, even though you might be 9-7 and there's an 11-2 team out there. It doesn't matter. So yeah, I thought that was a bad try. I think the tush should be eliminated because it's not football. This is totally different. This is absolutely needed. You should be rewarded for winning your conference. Same thing in college, boys. NFL allows players to take part in 2028 Summer Olympic Games. That's a mistake. Rookie Ashton Gentry says Raiders want him to alter pre-snap stance. Why would you want him to do that? Leave him alone. Let's see what this is about. Offensive coordinator Chip Kelly wants him to alter pre-snap stance in backfield. Gentry is favored standing straight up before receiving a handoff. Oakland are asking Gentry to change his pre-snap stance in the backfield. I don't know. He only led the nation with 2,600 yards for Boise last season, 4,800 yards and 50 touchdowns over 3 years. He began plays by standing straight up with his arms by his side. It's a stance fans on social media have compared to Halloween villain Michael Myers standing. Who gives a fuck? Raiders offensive coordinator wants Gentry to alter the stance, crouching down to presumably explode forward. Oh, fuck, leave the guy alone, and had him work on it during the team's recent rookie minicamp. For now, Gentry is willing to give it a try, but sounds as if he's fine with the way he always worked. Yeah, I wouldn't change. It's like changing these batters in baseball or the pitchers. It's like, just leave him alone. The guy hits 300. Somebody did that to my daughter. I'm teaching her how to hit, and they wanted her like elbow high or something. Like I always hit like this, and they're trying to say, well, stick your elbow up. Leave her alone. All right. She. It's all about hand-eye coordination. Can you see what you're hitting? That's it. Prophet, good morning. The reason he's standing straight up is because he's short. I don't care why he stands straight up. You don't change a guy who gets 2,000 yards. You can run any way you want. But I don't. What does Chip Kelly know? He doesn't know anything. He lost to Michigan. He sucked at Oregon. He sucked at where else he was at. I mean, I don't listen to that guy. What is going on with Yahoo? It's extremely slow. Well, I don't think Gentry's going to change, and Coach Pete's probably pretty good about like, do what you want, son. Let's see what else we got here. Eagles AJ Brown talks George Pickens trade. We have to worry about whatever. Bucks owner pushes for Simeon Rice to make the Hall of Fame. Who gives a shit? Bears reportedly signed Joe Tooney to $35 million. That could make him. Now, what are you doing signing an offensive lineman to $35 million a year? Are you insane? And then what kills me? Reported the Bears signed Joe Tooney to 2-year, $35 million extension for a guard. Okay, you need a quarterback, and you need some running backs, and you need some defense. And I would get rid of the guy who watched the Washington play from the sidelines and wasn't even ready for it. Caleb Williams will not stand straight up because Caleb Williams doesn't know how to quarterback. That's your problem. I think that's a big. I see you have a salary cap, and you have now what they're doing is taking advantage that Caleb probably makes $2 million as a quarterback because he's on the first part of his deal, and that's probably what he has. So, with that said, you're saving the money on that. I wouldn't waste it on a guard. All right, you need your defensive help. You do need offensive linemen, but I'm not going to pay a guard $35 million. Well, it's a 2-year extension. So you're paying what, $17 million for a guard? I mean, the league's outpricing themselves. I don't know how you feel the team anymore because you have a salary cap. And if you start paying guards $17 million a year, and tackles, the Lions tackle, what a waste that is of 25, $30 million a year for a right tackle. You're out of your mind. Then here come the receivers and the running backs. What are you going to pay them? You got to pay them $50 million. Well, you got a salary cap. The Lions they've lost. They've given Goff $50 million a year. Shows me that they are clueless. They don't know what they're doing. And you got whatchamacallit, your backup, Hendon Hooker, who's better than Goff, and you're just sitting there. You're paying Goff all this money to what? Throw 5 interceptions in the big against good teams? Terrible move. Hooker would not have thrown 5 interceptions against Washington. I think he's as good as Penix, Hooker. I don't know why they're not playing him. I guess Goff has the experience, and again, this is the coach's mistake. They don't play the best people. They play the guy with the experience. That's why these rookies don't get in there. Like Kyle Trask at Tampa, I'd be after him. Hi, David. Brock Purdy got paid big too. Yeah, these are all mistakes. I don't know why they think if Brock Purdy gets 30 million, I got to pay my guy 30 million. There's a big skill set difference. Okay, I get Mahomes. He got like 60 million. And Joe Burrow, they should be at the top of the pyramid. And then, like, what are they paying Lamar? Whatever they're paying him, it's way too much. Like I say, you only have so much in salary cap. And if you pay these guys 30, 40 million for the wrong positions, tackles and guards, you're paying a guard 17 million a year. You out of your fucking mind? I don't know why anybody gets more than $1 million or $2 million to play. And this is the problem. They don't try because they don't care. And the worst thing you can do is guarantee it. If you start guaranteeing money, somebody gives me $20 million. How hard am I working? Not at all. I'm just sitting there buying as much gold as I can. That's it. I'm retired. Your mindset, like I say, when the gold hits 10,000 an ounce and silver finally gets to 1,000 an ounce, 2,000 an ounce, I'm not working. I have no incentive because you work for the money. And if you're going to get paid $17 million, and in football especially, the problem in football is the injury. So this Tunney gets injured, there goes $34 million, and now you got to replace him, and you have no money to replace the guy. This is the problem that the owners or GMs are doing, is they're overpaying for a guy like Purdy. He gets hurt, now what do you got? You don't have money to pay a good backup. That's why you see such shit backups like Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold and these guys who suck, but they make money because they don't make. They're on the team because they don't make money. The Giants way overpaid Daniel Jones. I'm sure they're eating that contract for Indy. Then they get a new quarterback. But they get Tyler Shaw or somebody, or I don't know. I don't remember who the Giants got, but you get that, and then it's ridiculous. And this is the problem with teams like the Lions, right? They pay their offensive guys the wrong side of the ball, too much money, and then when the defensive guy gets hurt, they can't. They're getting a guy from the grocery store. And then they lose in the playoffs, and because they can't cover the wind against a good quarterback. And that's what you're getting in the playoffs. Not that Hurts is good, but we know Daniels is good, and Mahomes is good, and Burrow and Josh Allen. They couldn't beat any of those guys with that defense because they're paying all their money because it's a cap. And so when when defense goes, you're not paying the defense that much anyway because you don't have any players. When they get hurt, who do you got? So you don't have, because you're paying your offense too much. You don't win with offense. You win with defense. Philadelphia beat Mahomes because of their defense, not because of Jalen Hurts. He didn't do anything. Even whatchamacallit, Barkley didn't. He ran for 30 yards. They didn't win because of that. They won because of their defense. So keep that in mind. So all these large paying a player in football is not like paying a player in basketball where there's not a lot of injuries, or baseball. Be careful paying the pitchers. Detroit has to pay Scooble. I would say I'm giving you 3 years and I'm giving you $10 million a year. If you don't like it, fuck off. You had a good year, but you've always been injured. And he's 30, and at most you maybe give me 2 more years of pretty good baseball, but it can go as easy as it came. And here come the injuries, and I bet he gets injured this year. And then what do? You can't get other players, and it's just you don't have any money for him. And the Tigers are a cheap organization. So are the Lions. I'm surprised the Lions are paying anything. Ford's always been cheap. They never re-sign their players. So it's very strange that the Lions are signing their guys, but they're all the offense, and same old Lions. We'll sign Barry Sanders, but we'll let Chris Spielman walk, and we'll let all these defensive players walk. Darius Slay, they let him walk. Guy's all pro. Well, we'll let him. We don't want to pay him. And that's what they're doing in there. And they think Hutchinson's going to be ready. Hutchinson's not going to be. He'll be lucky to play this year. I mean, look at it. Look at our man. What's our quarterback from Utah? Fuck, come on. Can you believe what's his name? Our guy, Cam Rising. Look at Cam Rising. He hurt his knee in the Rose Bowl, and he couldn't play for a year. You think Hutchinson's going to be ready before October? You're out of your mind. And from what I hear, that it's going to be 2 years for him to come back. You break your leg, you don't just come back as you were 100%. You lose a step or two. And I would have just cut him. I wouldn't sign him. I would just cut him and let him go. And I would have drafted the guy from Georgia. But the Lions can't think like that. So they'll probably re-sign him because they like him. But this isn't about it's about his skill set. All right. So that be some football news. I mean, the tush push shouldn't even be a rule that you need to vote on. It should just be, it's not football, goodbye. Poor Caleb, he sucks. You could have had Daniel in Chicago. What can I say? You fucked up again. Uh-oh. Should we watch Andre the Giant with Heenan? I hope I say I worry about the wrestling ones that they block me. See, I don't like these. I hate this guy anyway. I mean, it says 1 kilogram of silver will make you rich. What are you joking? 1 kilogram. How can 1 kilogram make you rich? It'll eventually run, but not right now. And I hate Rick Rude. He's just an idiot. Gold's sudden drop is no accident. What they're distracting. You don't even understand it. It's derivatives. I bet you this guy does not understand it was based on derivatives that made it go down. That's why I don't listen to Rick Rude. He's just terrible. How to properly define bull and bear markets. Yeah, we don't care. Panic profit taking. Most people have no idea what's about to happen. I'm so sick of this. Nobody knows what's about to happen. Yeah, of course they don't. But I don't sit there and say that about these things. People don't understand because people have not been taught this stuff. So I was watching this one on the beef. So let me explain it to you. There's grass-fed beef, and then there's all the cattle are in a barn and they're all together and they're not getting fresh air and they're eating hormones and all that. That's what we eat at the restaurants, and at most places we're eating crap. The meat is not very good for us. That's probably why my gout's killing me. You want to eat grass-fed beef because there's the no hormones and it's a safer. They're outside. The cow's healthier. He's eating grass. Same with the fish. You want to be careful with fish in a farm where they're just swimming together versus fish in nature. So you want wild salmon. You want grass-fed beef. Same thing with chicken. You want where they're more free eating, not bunched up. So it's this. There's a lot of disease, and it's just the animals aren't as healthy as just the normal. They're outside eating the grass and doing that. And I think that's what he's basically saying. So just to be careful when you are getting it, if you're getting chicken or beef at the grocery store, if you can get farm, but I know it's very expensive to get grass fed. It's like $8 a pound for grass fed beef, um, which isn't, it's not that much more, but I don't know. It's a pound. I've never gotten it. Um, and then, chicken, I don't know, chicken and fish, if you can even find wild or normal, natural chicken and fish. Every time I see salmon, they say it's wild. Well, it's not really wild, but it's not in the school too bad. And with the chicken, I don't know. I mean, I guess just look at it and smell it and see if it's okay. But yeah, I mean, you don't want to see what you're buying. You just, oh, I got chicken, I got beef. And salmon also, you don't want to eat like a lot of. You want to eat it once a week at the most, maybe twice a week at most, especially if you get the big tail. It's like 2 pounds. You want to just eat a pound here and a pound, on Monday and a pound the following Wednesday or something. There's not a lot of mercury in it, which is good, but it's just, again, the disease. And if they're in the school, there's too much. So it's a little bit, you probably want more chicken and beef. You probably want to eat more grass-fed beef if you can find it, and just be careful and just and make sure you're eating your eggs. That's really the key. That's okay. But again, it's the same thing with the chicken laying the egg. You got to be careful that. But I think as long as it comes out yellow, crack the egg and it's yellow and it looks pretty good and smells pretty good, you're probably okay with it. I think if it just smells bad or looks bad, I wouldn't eat it. So if you open up, I got chicken in the fridge I'm going to cook. And when I open it up, if it just smells bad, I'm going to throw it out. And if it smells okay, then I'll eat it. I mean, I'm in my 60s, so I'm doing something right. But the problem is they put you on these protein diets. So my diet is veggies and protein and fat. And so you want to eat steaks and chicken and ribs and stuff like that. So it makes it very difficult. If they're saying, well, you can't eat that. Well, what do you want me to eat? I can't eat the other. I'm not eating bread and cereal and Oreos and ice cream. I mean, there's nothing to eat now. You're killing me. So they're trying to kill us is what they're doing. All right. Let's look at this chip war. This is very discouraging. This is my Trump thing.
Trump just gave the world an ultimatum. Buy American chips or get cut off. Trump just gave the world an ultimatum. Buy American chips or get cut off. At the same time, Saudi Arabia was just asked to write a $1 trillion check to America. Not for oil, not for defense, but to save the U.S. from a semiconductor collapse. At the same time, Washington just declared that using a Chinese-made chip anywhere in the world could violate U.S. law. And now, Trump's sending letters to over 150 countries, dictating tariffs like a global toll booth operator. The world didn't vote on this, but they're about to pay for it. What happens when China fights back and U.S. allies stop playing along? In a single press conference in Riyadh, President Trump asked Saudi Arabia to round up a $600 billion investment commitment to a full $1 trillion. just days after the U.S. 10-year Treasury yield spiked back to 4.48%, triggering fears of a second inflation wave. According to Bloomberg, the U.S. now faces a debt servicing bill of over $1 trillion annually, making foreign capital essential for maintaining domestic stimulus and subsidizing semiconductor reshoring. Trump's request wasn't tied to mutual projects. It was framed as a direct injection into U.S. growth, justified by what we've done for them. But Riyadh's own first quarter 2025 deficit hit $15.7 billion, with NEOM alone projected to consume $1.5 trillion by 2030, per Saudi state data. Trump's demand wasn't just bold, it collided directly with the kingdom's own survival math. And yet, that didn't stop the pitch. Because what came next was a trade not of goods, but of allegiance. While NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang confirmed the sale of 18,000 Blackwell AI chips to Saudi AI startup Humane, the Commerce Department simultaneously declared that using Huawei's Ascent chips anywhere in the world may now violate U.S. export law, even if made in China, citing probable U.S. technology origin. Reuters reported this.
So how can the U.S. do that? I'm free to buy whatever the hell I want. Oh, and if I buy Chinese chips, you're gonna tariff me. Well, I don't care because I don't buy anything you sell. You don't sell any goods. So yes, a lot of car manufacturers like Honda, let's say, or Toyota is in America, but I'm really buying a Japanese car. I don't consider it an American car. But this is where what is Trump doing? Trump wants a depression, apparently, because not only are everybody going to get pissed, this is why BRICS exists, because you're sanctioning these people, especially Russia and China, and they're sitting there going, this is absolutely ridiculous. We're not going to pay. We're going to buy whatever chips we want. I'm sure they'll put it under the table so the U.S. will not have a clue. Again, it's like where I live, they now said you can't smoke in your apartment when your lease comes due, which is mine. Is in June. I don't smoke, but how are they going to know if you do smoke? Right? If I smoke here, how are you going to know? I mean, you're not in here. I hope there's not cameras anywhere. There better not be. But how would you know if I smoked or not? You're not in here. So it's like you can't speed, but if you do, it's okay. Like speed limit's 40, but you go 45 and you're speeding, but nobody knows. So you just speed. So the same thing here. How will they know if you buy the chip? You won't know, but so what is the big thing? And you're going to tariff everybody. Nobody's going to do business with you. So Trump's making a huge mistake. It's called free trade. You want free trade. You want to be able to trade with America because it's the best for both worlds. You keep the price down because of the competition and you get the US dollar. So what's happened in the world is everybody, like China's been selling to us, they get the US dollar. That's why there's no trade imbalance. China gets the dollar and we get their goods. There is no trade imbalance. It's equal. And with that said, you get the same. The benefit is the U.S. pays less for it. And then what China did was buy treasuries with the money they got for selling their goods. They bought treasuries. And now they're saying, well, we don't want the treasuries because you're sanctioning us, and they're dumping the treasuries back. So in effect, what happens is we get the Chinese good, China gets our money, and then China has to sell our money to get yuan because they can't use US dollars in China or Japan or Switzerland or anywhere that trades with us. They need to trade in the dollars for that. And then they were using it for the FX. So like I said, if Switzerland wanted to buy British pounds, they had to sell the Swiss franc for dollars and then take the dollars to buy British pounds. It was the stupidest thing in the world. So I was listening to some guy who said about the FX, well, the US is used the most in FX. You're like, excuse me, like there is no option. You got to use the U.S. But now that's going down because China is selling directly with Brazil and Russia with Iran and China with India and Russia with Saudi Arabia. They're all selling to each other in their own currencies. You can buy oil in yuan. That's how they pay for it. So there's no petrodollar anymore. Um, People are stuck holding the dollar because their dollars are more corrupt than anything, and that's where gold's going to come into play. I got gold. I don't need the dollar. Go fuck off. And that's what the U.S. Trump is missing, as he causes a depression with his tariffs, which will anytime the market is here, as I explain every class, the market's here, $100. You add the tariff, you're now making the market $200. There's no buyers at 200. Therefore, all these people can't buy because it's too expensive. They don't buy. The stores close down. Take McDonald's, for example. You go to McDonald's and it's like $20 for a meal. Well, it's like what is it, $7, $8 for, maybe I'll drive through the line today just to see the prices. What's it, $7, $8 for a burger, probably what, $4 for fries and probably $3 for a drink. So you're at $15 probably, let's say maybe $12 for McDonald's. I go to Coney, I get a burger and chili and it's $12, which is a little high. But see, they're pricing themselves out. So I go to the market and I get my meat there, and it's $6 a pound. I get 3 pounds for $18. That's a lot of burgers I can eat. All I got to do is cook them. Like the chicken now, I got chicken legs for $1.99 on sale, and yeah, I'm sure they're farm raised. I'm eating poison, but I cook it thoroughly. That's why you got to cook the meat to get rid of the disease. But if I got like 10 legs, so that'll cover 3 or 4 meals, and so it's cheaper than going to the restaurant to buy it, and it's healthier because I'm using olive oil, and however I'm marinating them with Celtic salt and cayenne pepper. I went to Red Robin yesterday with Alyssa. She likes to drink, so it's $10 cheeseburger, but if you get a plain, they charge you 13. So I got to get the cheeseburger and then empty everything off because I don't want cheese, and I hate pickles on my hamburger and mayonnaise, all this very unhealthy stuff. But you go for the size, so I got a salad, and then I got fries, and I got another salad and another fries as the go with for free. So you're eating that, and I was going to get chicken or French onion soup because that sounded good, but it was $6, and a salad was $6. So if I got them, it'd have been $12 versus getting the hamburger for 10. So I got the burger, but I got it really for the sides. But it's really bad. It's pricey. Well, because Alyssa gets the drinks. So anyway, I hate when people spend your money for you. Do you really want it? Do you really need the drink and get 2 drinks for dinner? Come on, I'm not made of money. I don't mind you getting 1 drink, but really, if it was you by yourself, would you order the drink? Do you have money for the drink? So don't spend my money. I hate that. Anyway, so it was with the drinks, and we each got the burger. It was like $40, and you're like, it's a lot of money at Red Robin, even though the $10 hamburger, but you're getting these drinks. You're killing the benefit. So it's hard to go, with her to places that serve drinks because she's going to get these drinks, and you're like, she's just spending your money, and it's like, no, it doesn't work. Anyway, back to this.
Doctrine shift is part of a broader secondary control policy, extending U.S. enforcement globally, including against third-party buyers. Trump's Middle East pitch centered on chips as leverage: buy our tech, get our backing. But buried under the glowing deals is an ultimatum: accept US AI hardware or face retaliatory trade restrictions. The pitch isn't subtle, it's geopolitical extortion through silicon. And while Nvidia expands into Saudi data centers, the White House threatens to penalize any country touching Huawei. So the question isn't who wants chips, it's who's willing to play by rules they didn't write. Saudi Arabia's ability to deliver even $600 billion, let alone $1 trillion, faces sharp constraints. According to IMF estimates, the kingdom needs oil at $96 per barrel to balance its budget. Yet Brent crude dropped to $79 in April 2025, hammering revenue. Riyadh's public investment fund already committed $2 trillion to Vision 2030 mega projects, including the Neom Smart City and Qiddiya Tourism Complex. Fitch warns the kingdom may issue up to $120 billion in new bonds by 2026 just to stay solvent. Yet Trump's pitch depends on funneling PIF capital into American firms, while Riyadh builds its own semiconductor infrastructure at home. Bloomberg notes that Saudi Arabia committed $10 billion to AI hardware through Humane, but no evidence suggests the remaining $590 billion exist as deployable capital. The real ask? Divert funds from domestic nation building to foreign GDP rescue. But MBS isn't just a donor, he's a rival developer. And every dollar sent to America weakens his own empire in progress.
If you've got pink salt, apple cider vinegar, and baking soda in your kitchen and you're not using this recipe,
America weakens his own empire in progress. Trump's February executive order to create an American sovereign wealth fund raised eyebrows among economists, not because of ambition, but because of structure. Unlike Norway or Singapore, the United States runs a twin deficit, a $1.7 trillion federal shortfall, according to the CBO in 2025, and an $842 billion trade gap, as reported by the USTR.
Okay. That's where you lose me. There is no trade gap. All right, so let me go to this one here. Saudi Arabia's $8 trillion disaster. So we're going to look at this city, Nome, and they're lying. What they initially planned and what they're actually going to do are two different things, and they've wasted trillions of dollars on this stupid thing.
April 2016. Mohammed bin Salman, the then Deputy Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, April 2016. Mohammed bin Salman, the then Deputy Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, unveils Vision 2030. The goal?
This is
diversify
a joke.
Saudi Arabia away from oil and make it a global business and cultural hub. To capture the world's attention, they unveiled jaw-dropping renders, futuristic cities and structures that look straight out of Dune. The Line, a 170-kilometer-long mirrored city taller than the Empire State Building. Trojena, a ski resort in the middle of the desert. The Rig, Red Sea Global, King Salman Park, Diriyah Gate, Qiddiya, Masr, and many, many, many more. All in all, they plan to spend $3 trillion to reshape Saudi Arabia and shake up the world. But fast forward near.
Okay, so is there demand for any of this? Sounds like an electric car. There's no demand for it. Nobody's running to Saudi Arabia on vacation, right? We'll go to Vegas, Amsterdam, France. You're not going to Saudi Arabia. It's the fucking desert. Now, the reality I will show you in a minute. So again, it comes into, they want to diversify for oil. How does this diversify from oil? You're not diversifying. In other words, you need let's build cars, build products that the market wants. What does the market want? Well, let's look at the market. You're not doing that. He's not building computers. He's not building chips. He's not building cars or clothes or anything like that. He couldn't compete with China and India on that shit anyway, but this is the problem. He can't really compete. So what's he doing? He's spending money where there's no demand. Does that remind me of Elon Musk? And they're in big trouble because they don't produce revenue. This is government spending, as I warn you about. It doesn't produce revenue. How is this going to produce revenue? Nobody's going to live in this glass city. They're having trouble doing it. Well, that's on the video. We'll show you, but it's like I'm a builder. I'm going to make 500 houses over here, and then nobody buys them. Was there demand for the house? Well, no. I just thought I'd build them and then see if people would buy them. And you're like, there's got to be demand. You're coming up. Normally, what happens is they come up with the subdivision. They put the little sign. Uh, Meadows is, sunlight is coming up, and then people sign up, and you see if you get, okay, we got 20 people who put the deposit down. Now we'll build 20 houses, and as we're building, we'll probably get. That's why there's like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Then we'll get more people, and we'll have the whole 500 subdivision. But we're not going to build 500 at once. We got to make sure there's demand for it. Otherwise, we're going to be broke. That's what he's doing. He, instead of just taking the oil money and buying gold and just relaxing, he wants to do this to get off of oil. Why are you getting off of oil? No, oil's not going anywhere. It's going to be around for a long time. If you have the gold, that'll protect you. It's such a simple thing to just buy gold and sit back and let comex break. But no, everybody wants to go do stuff that makes no sense, and they go bankrupt. It's just ridiculous. All right, here we go.
10 years and the vision looks more like a hallucination. All projects are well behind schedule, over budget, and looking less likely than ever before to complete. What went wrong? This is Vision 2030, Mohammed bin Salman's nightmare. To better understand Vision 2030, we need to go back nearly 100 years. In 1932, Ibn Saud unified the tribes of the Arabian Peninsula to officially form the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And although it was a kingdom in name, Saudi Arabia was very poor and relied on subsistence farming to get by. Things only worsened during the Great Depression as demand for pearls weakened and pilgrimages to Mecca slowed down. To this end, Ibn Saud granted Standard Oil of California a 60-year concession to extract oil. And in 1938, they did just that, striking oil with the discovery of the Daman No. 7 well. Saudi Aramco was born. Fast forward to today, and Saudi Aramco has generated over $500 billion in dividends since 2020. Although this sounds great, there's a problem.
Sounds low.
Saudi Arabia is very reliant on oil. In fact, in 2016, oil represented nearly 82% of all Saudi exports. Fearing for its future, MBS decided it was time to revitalize Saudi Arabia and launch Vision 2030. One of the main pillars of Vision 2030 is to diversify the economy and develop private industry. How did MBS expect to accomplish this? One word, maybe two. Giga projects. Taking a page out of the Dubai playbook, Saudi Arabia decided that to attract the talent of the future, they needed to build the cities of the future. And what does that city of the future look like? This. Neom is a $500 billion futuristic megacity that launched in 2017. And the largest, most ambitious element of Neom is the line. The line is, well, a line that literally stretches 170 kilometers across the desert and is expected to house 9 million people. Not only that, but the whole way across, it's over 1,600 feet tall, which is taller than the Empire State Building. Not to mention, it is fully covered in reflective panels. All of this required nearly 20% of the world's entire steel production and was to be completed in the middle of the beating hot desert by 2030. But given we are only 5 years away from the completion date, wouldn't some of this incredible megacity be complete? No. To date, no true structure stands. Instead, they have done a ton of trenches. But as anyone knows, in line construction, digging the trenches is the hardest part. Building 1,600-foot solar towers over 170 kilometers is super easy. The Neom team realized that they were way behind schedule, so they decided to adjust their goalpost just a little bit. Instead of 170 kilometers, the line will now be an impressive 2.4 kilometers, a measly 98.5% reduction for phase 1. Do you have old pictures?
So what is that? That's the problem, right? What you said and what you put away to spend. Now you realize it's not going to be there. You're in the middle of the fucking desert. Who's moving to Saudi Arabia? who's vacationing in Saudi Arabia. I mean, the whole thing sounds stupid. You want to go to the beach. You want to go the south of France. You want to go to Italy. You want to go to places that Switzerland, the Caribbean, Hawaii. Is there water that I'm missing in the middle of the desert at Saudi Arabia? So this is a problem. And then so they didn't. Where are you getting the numbers? We're going to have 1 million people or 1 trillion people or whatever you're going to have. Based on what? Oh, we just pulled the number out of the air. You're doing it all backwards. You're doing things there's no market for. This kills everything. If you don't have a market, you shouldn't be doing it. Now, if you had all these people say, oh, I want to move there, that's a different story. Can we even make this wall that's what he just said, 170 kilometers down to 2? Can you even make it? And how fast is it going to take by 2030? How do you know by 2030? Apparently you can't, because it's 2025 and you're down to 2.1 kilometers. All right, let's get back
on
to
your PC or smartphone. Then this video is for you. This tiny device can
8.5% reduction for phase 1. And instead of 9 million people, they will have an equally impressive 300,000 people. And as such, the line will be rebranded the Pittsburgh of the desert. Now, this is a screw up for sure. However, they continue to emphasize that the line will be built eventually. And pulling back up a level, let's remember that NEOM isn't just the line. It includes Oxagon, a floating industrial complex and automated port. Trojena, a mountain ski resort on a mountain that barely produces enough snow to make a snowball. And Sindala, a luxury island destination that differentiates itself from the thousands of other island destinations by being named Sindala, which sounds an awful lot like Cinderella. You get the idea though. NEOM has a lot of random projects that feel almost aimless, but there's a reason for this. Most of these ideas are being developed by MBS himself, but this is deeply flawed. For one, MBS has no formal training or experience in engineering, architecture, design, or finance. He is simply deeply passionate about science fiction and innovation. Furthermore, this centralization of decision-making around the Crown Prince has prevented an honest assessment of the project's costs and challenges. For instance, Thomas Paine, the original architect of the line, was prevented from expressing concerns about costs to MBS. A project manager for Sindala was removed after they challenged cost estimates, and even McKinsey, my alma mater, a firm that prides itself on its independent thinking, has seemingly helped executives juice IRR figures to make projects look better on paper. But at least McKinsey didn't go empty-handed. For their beautiful spreadsheets and lack of backbone, they have received $130 million in fees. This avoidance of having real and tough discussions has led to NEOM's expected cost to rise from $500 billion to $8.8 trillion. Yes, 25 times greater than Saudi Arabia.
So now Trump goes there and says, hey, let me have, I need $1 trillion from you. Basically, we're going broke, and he's begging for money. And, we don't even we buy like 10% of our oil from Saudi Arabia. I don't know where we get it from, but maybe it's from Canada, David, or Prophet, you probably know, but it's not coming from Saudi Arabia. So you want him to cut a check for $1 trillion. Now he gets oil money from China, not from Russia. Russia has their own oil. And then I don't know what India, who they buy from. I think they buy from China also. So who is he selling it to? And then he doesn't, if he wants to do this project, he doesn't have money to give to the U.S. So I don't know what Trump's doing. Trump's making a lot of enemies. I'm sure this guy just laughed at him when he left, going, I ain't getting, he ain't getting $1 trillion that I don't have, because I'm going to waste it on this 2030 project that will produce nothing. This reminds me of China when they built all the houses and then never built them. So people would say, yeah, I'd like a house. And they, okay, give me the money. And everybody would pay them. And then they never built the house. That's Evergrande and the other company. And this sounds like, oh, we're going to build this whole big gnome city. And then, yeah, I guess we're not, because nobody's, and then can people even, what's the charge for them? Are people going to be able to afford it? And so you have no other city. All you have is oil. And then the problem they have is they're just giving money away for their own citizens. So they're not working. Like I said, back to the football. If you're giving me $10 million, I'm done. I'm going to take the money and just sit. And, I'll fake an injury, and that's it. I have no incentive to play once you give me $10 million. And the people of Saudi have no incentive to do anything because they're getting money from the oil. So the government gives them money, and so they just sit back. They don't have to work. It's very devastating. Here, we need to work. If you want to get a better job, you go to school, you get a job, and then you move around and you learn skills and you make more money. That's America. The government doesn't give us. They give us very little, but nobody wants. Nobody wants really welfare. Who wants welfare? You don't want it. You might need it for a while, but you want to increase your skill set, and that's the whole key to it. And then so from there, you're going onto it. But in Saudi Arabia, there's no point to increasing your skill set. You get all this oil money, and so that's what happened to Spain when they had all the gold. They didn't increase their productivity, and they're not doing it in Saudi Arabia either. So this whole city makes no sense. Who's going to afford to even live in there? Who wants to live in there? You're not getting foreigners. I'm not moving to Saudi Arabia. You got to be kidding me. All right.
Entire budget. And MBS is not happy. He's so unhappy
Who's
that he actually
MBS?
left Tom Brady and Will Smith hanging at the launch party for his incomplete luxury island resort, Sindala. But at least they spared no expense on the party, spending an estimated $40 million, which I guess is a drop in the bucket given they spent $4 billion on the project to date. All this said, many Saudi fanboys will be quick to point out that the kingdom has actually increased its non-oil GDP in recent years. And this is true. Saudi Arabia has been hyper-focused on increasing non-oil GDP. One way it has done this is through its strategic investments through PIF, its sovereign wealth fund. PIF is not like other sovereign wealth funds. Its goal is not simply to generate returns, but to also support Saudi Arabia in diversifying its economy and innovating. To do this, PIF invests in businesses around the world. From 2017 to 2023, these investments generated an 8.7% annual rate of return, with these returns directly reinvested into local projects and more businesses. But here's where we get into some issues. For one, only about 20% of PIF is invested abroad, representing about 160 billion US dollars, which sounds like a lot, but really, it isn't. Saudi's non-oil GDP
No, it
is
is.
around $450 billion. An 8.7% return on $156 billion is about $13.5 billion, or 3% of non-oil GDP, which means that PIF's foreign investments mean very little in the grand scheme of things. Instead, Saudi's non-oil GDP is almost entirely linked to local projects, which might not be an issue until you realize that the bulk of local projects are related to NEOM. By our estimation, if you remove this spending, non-oil GDP may have actually declined. Why is this important? Well, it basically means that the Saudi government is failing to shift their economy away from oil in a durable and sustainable way. Yes, theoretically, they are increasing GDP, increasing employment, and the like, but Saudi Arabia can't indefinitely spend money on NEOM and other Vision 2030 projects. Instead, they need to achieve a return from these projects. Construction GDP is not a means to an end. But enough with the building. Who the heck is planning on living here? Once the structures are
Exactly.
there, they need people to drive an actual economy, right? But before we do that, a few months ago, we partnered with economics and politics experts to launch a newsletter. It's free, weekly, has no AI slop, and covers issues around the world in 5 minutes or less. Check out the description to sign up. Now back to the video.
As you guys know, I am a proud Uber One member, and I love Uber One because Uber Eats is my most used app on my phone. It's my
Nobody
In
cares.
5 minutes or less. Check out the description to sign up. Now back to the video. Remember how they wanted 9 million people to live on the line, or in the line? That projection would make the line 10 times more densely populated than Manhattan. Even more alarming, this is 26% of Saudi's current population. which basically means that the line will be mostly populated by immigrants. Historically, the kingdom has had a net migration of around 6.7 per 1,000 residents, which implies 250,000 immigrants per year. This pales in comparison to the 9 million needed for the line. So how will a kingdom attract all these incredible people? For one, they want to streamline the visa process and introduce initiatives like premium residency programs and entrepreneurship visas. They want to introduce special economic zones to encourage investment, introduce scholarships and exchanges for students, and much, much more. And although these ideas aren't bad, there is a fundamental question that needs to be asked. Do the world's best and brightest want to live in Saudi Arabia? Highly educated people are generally more socially liberal. As such, they want to live in a place that reflects their cultural values. And Saudi Arabia is not that place. For one, Saudi Arabia has male guardianship enshrined in law. And yes, we are aware that these laws have been loosened, but they are still starkly contrasted to the Western world. For example, women still need a man's permission for marriage, divorce, custody, and travel with children and more. So this alone takes out a large chunk of educated women who would never want to live or work in such a place. And frankly, it takes out many educated men who also think such a law is deplorable. However, for those who would still work there for the financial rewards, they would likely be transitory, because unlike other expat countries such as Singapore, the laws of the kingdom make it extremely difficult to seriously consider a life there. But it continues. Saudi Arabia ranks third globally for executions. And I can already hear the comments. Singapore does the same thing, and people move there too. Sure, but there's a big, big difference. Singapore is still above the global average on human freedom, where Saudi Arabia is well below. And although Singapore has strict laws and a borderline closed press, there is religious freedom. You can dress however you'd like, you can drink alcohol, etc. In addition, foreign workers have historically been treated terribly in the kingdom. Saudi Arabia exploits workers via the kafala system, which grants employers control over migrant workers. In fact, it is estimated that 21,000 migrant workers from India, Bangladesh, and Nepal have died working on NEOM projects. Given this, why would people with Western values want to live in Saudi Arabia? And thankfully, we have data to support.
Why would
how
anybody
much.
vacation there?
According to the 2022 census, there are over 13 million migrants working in KSA, but countries like the US, the UK, and Canada only represent 0.2, 0.1, and 0.1% respectively. In a competitive world, the kingdom is deeply unappealing. Saudi Arabia's ambition and spending go far beyond building a tax haven. They want to create an innovation hub, a country for the future rooted in values that haven't changed in the past 100 years. The question the kingdom should ask itself is, if a foreigner is highly skilled and can make great money elsewhere, why should they pick Saudi Arabia? But here's the twist. This isn't just a foreigner problem. The problem is deeper and extends to Saudi citizens. Saudi Arabia ranked 41st out of 44 countries polled on STEM graduation rates. But even these figures need to be taken with a grain of salt. A recent report showed that Saudi had a financial scheme to make their universities rank artificially higher. They paid researchers to lie about their place of employment with the goal to attribute research to Saudi Arabian institutions. This speaks volumes to how the kingdom is dealing with its skills crisis. Instead of fixing the root cause, they're trying to solve it the only way they know how, by throwing money at it. But as we saw in Neon, that simply doesn't work. Furthermore, it's not just an issue of skill, it's an issue of culture and work ethic. Reporting suggests that many Saudi public sector workers give little priority to hard work. It is such a deep-seated issue that the former undersecretary at the Ministry of Social Affairs has commented on this, saying, "This is an incredibly low level that needs to be studied extensively. Transforming our society to a knowledge-based one is the only solution." Part of the problem for the kingdom's poor work ethic is its heavy reliance on foreign labor, especially unskilled labor, which makes up the bulk of immigration. Even after making meaningful efforts through Saudization, the kingdom has struggled to convince its local population to work harder, especially in the private sector. Public sector jobs are stable and pay well, with 78% of unemployed Saudi Arabians saying they'd prefer a public sector job. This makes it harder for private businesses to hire locals, drives up the reservation wage, and deepens dependence on foreign labor. This issue is so pervasive.
Well, it's because they're government jobs. And as we see here, In the US, nobody has to work. They all work from home 2 days a week and get paid the full pay. It's all bullshit. So everybody wants to work for the government because they know they'll keep their job. Nobody wants to work private. Then how are you supposed to have a private sector? The whole idea, what he's trying to do is he's out of his mind. There's no market for it. It's very simple. You make things, Say's law, supply creates demand. Is your supply creating demand in Saudi Arabia? No, you're selling oil. And if you didn't have oil, you'd be broke. So you're selling oil. You're trying to get away from oil for some reason. Building this stupid glass city, is there demand? After you've done it, are there going to be people that can afford to live in it? How are you going to ship the goods and services and the food and everything in there? Where are you going to get that from? I mean, this is the problem. There's no demand for what they're doing. Tesla and his electric cars and his spaceships that blow up. There's no demand for it. Oh, wait, I can't wait for Musk's robot taxi drivers. Yeah, that's what I want. I want to get into a car with a robot. Yeah, never. That'll never happen. What is this guy doing? He's such an idiot. Well, I think everybody will want it. No, there's no demand for your electric cars or the robot taxis. And yet the stock goes up and all these people are going to lose their ass on it. But Trump keeps coming up with, well, we'll do this, we'll do that, which nobody wants. I don't know where he's getting the money from. I guess from the government. So Trump's probably paying him a lot in stock to do what he's doing because he says he's not getting a salary now, but they're getting the stock price up. So it's just ridiculous what's going on. But it's like opening up there's an episode of Seinfeld I remember when I used to watch it. They were opening up like a Baghdad restaurant or a Pakistan restaurant. And so the guy opens it up and there's no customers because nobody wants Pakistan food. Why would you? He'd been better off opening up a hamburger place or a pizza place. That's why you see so many hamburger and pizza places. You see McDonald's and Wendy's, and you see Little Caesars and Domino's and 52 Pizza because there's demand for those items and we need to eat. So that's why there's so many pizza places and so many hamburger places and chicken places because the demand for food is there. You just got to follow what the market wants. That's why I said with the barbecue place, you cannot go $45. The market will never bear it. The market's probably struggling at 30. Two of your restaurants, he had three, two of them have already shut. They went out of business. So how big a future do you think you have? So, and again, he misses the point. I keep saying buy the gold and he keeps, well, we're not going to pay the debt. Oh, yes, we are. And the whole thing, dude, just buy the fucking gold. Well, I'm in a 401k. Just buy the fucking gold. And I think a lot of people are getting trapped when they go to work into the 401k because they think the company is matching 5%. Yeah, 5% of zero is zero. You're much better off taking the money and buying gold with it than doing what you're doing. And so that's the real problem, right? Again, it's Say's law. I can sell in Hank Aaron because I have demand. Frank Aaron, I couldn't sell because who would want that car? But Hank Aaron, there's a demand. And that's really what it is. Is there demand? And then I can go sell it to somebody. And if there's no demand, what am I doing? And what is the Saudi Arabia thing doing? All right, a little bit left. 4 minutes.
Many oil-rich Arab nations, as locals have benefited deeply from strong government support, giving little incentive to change. All of this to say, we are skeptical that Saudi Arabia can be a beacon for innovation. The kingdom is not built to attract or produce top talent, but maybe they can convince people to vacation there. Creating a tourism economy is tough. When you ask people where they want to vacation, Saudi Arabia really doesn't come up all that often. A part of the reason is the aforementioned cultural issues. Lack of women's rights and dictatorships don't attract Westerners the same way freedom and mimosas do. But what if Saudi Arabia can flip the narrative and make itself a bastion for entertainment? Enter Live Golf. In 2022, the kingdom launched a rival to the PGA Tour called Live. The idea was straightforward. let's pay golfers way more and create a competing league so that they can attract eyeballs to Saudi Arabia. Sounds simple enough, but paying players guaranteed salaries without any care for performance is like paying a car salesman for wearing nice suits. In 2022, Liv lost nearly $250 million, and in 2023, this climbed to almost $400 million. With the piling financial struggles of Liv, you'd think they might reconsider this strategy, but no. They decided to do the same thing for soccer. PIF acquired a majority control of the 4 biggest teams in the Saudi Pro League, and through them spent over £1 billion on transfer fees alone. In total, conservative estimates put the PIF spending on soccer at over £2 billion. They signed players like Ronaldo, Neymar, and dozens more. So you'd think people are watching these games, right? No. In the 2023-24 season, the average attendance for SPL matches was a little over 8,000. Compare that to the Premier League with over 40,000 in attendance. Well, let's look at TV viewership. Surely that's better. Nope. Across 70 matches aired in the US, matches averaged 10,000 viewers. Compare that to the nearly 550,000 US viewers per match for the Premier League. No matter how you cut it, people aren't buying it. The best players in their prime don't play in the Saudi League, and even if they did, fans want community ties and heritage. Arsenal and Man United have both been around for over 140 years. Barcelona and Real Madrid for over 120 years. And over that time, they have won over the hearts of their cities and the world. They have captured the imagination of future soccer stars. In a word, they are authentic. The Saudi League is not. It comes back to the same point. Saudi Arabia is trying to buy their way into success. Put differently, anyone can make an Hermes bag, but no one can beat Hermes. Saudi Arabia doesn't seem to understand that. These cultural attractions don't have a good ROI and don't leverage the advantages Saudi Arabia has. They are hollow. That said, people are visiting the kingdom. In 2019, 21 million people visited, compared to 30 million in 2024, an increase of 9 million people. Although these numbers sound good, they come with a major asterisk. 18.5 million of these visitors were pilgrims visiting Mecca. That's over 60% of all visitors. Furthermore, 30 million is still a far cry from the 70 million needed by 2030 to make the numbers work. But let's give Saudi Arabia credit and assume they can make this happen. If you assume that these tourists spend in line with the international tourism average of $1,100 per trip, that equates to about $77 billion of revenue. Compare that to the estimated cost of NEOM of $8.8 trillion, and you get an incredible pre-cost ROI of less than 1%. That is a one-way path to bankruptcy. Even if you 10x how much people spend, it's still not enough to justify the cost of NEOM. And at this point, I don't even know why we keep doing so much analysis. This whole strategy is so clearly flawed and muddled. None of the numbers make any sense. The conclusion is simple. This tourism strategy is a mirage in the desert. Ambition and vision are great, and we applaud MBS for that. They are needed to change a society and take it to another level. But more than ambition and vision, execution is what makes things happen, and not the type that Saudi Arabia is known the world over for. Anyone can dream of incredible cities, innovation, and a wonderful future, but few can make it happen. Vision 2030 was just that, a vision. It promised grandiose cities and attractions without reconciling their purpose or ROI. It claimed it would attract the best and brightest from the world without addressing the main inhibitors for high talent immigration. It sought to establish itself as a cultural haven by creating fabricated attractions. And now, many years on, what have they accomplished? The takeaway? Mo money, mo problems. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, hit subscribe.
And if we don't, we won't hit subscribe. So you got chip wars. What the hell is Trump doing? You got be careful with your meat. We got women that you've got to have their own shadows that you got to be careful of. And this is a nice one. The dark side of Greek mythology. I like that. I like this mystic manner. I recommend that to you. And that's what I have. So Saudi Arabia is in big trouble. They got all this oil money, and they're just, I don't know what he's thinking. Building a glass thing in the middle of the desert. Who is going to live there? You're not. Why do you work? Why do you live in a city? Because of the job. So is there jobs there? No. Well, if there's no jobs there, why would anybody move there? And how are you going to afford it if you're not getting a job? And am I going to retire in a glass city? I don't want to live in a city like that. I want to live in a house on the beach earning 20%. That's you want to have freedom. We're used to freedom. You're not giving me freedom in a glass building. So it's all about, before it would, you'd follow the water, like the Nile. Everybody would live in Egypt on the Nile because there was water and you could survive. That's what it's all about, is living. That's why I live in Detroit, for the auto jobs, which are no longer, or a little bit. I'm still waiting on Ford, but basically that's why I lived in Detroit, because of the auto jobs paid more than in Alabama. That's the key to it. That's the first thing, is money and jobs. And Saudi misses the point. Well, we'll build this, if we build it, you will come. This isn't Field of Dreams. We can build this glass city, but it's not going to draw anybody. And how am I going to get back and forth to where? And we're in the middle of the desert. Why do we go to Vegas? Because there's the gambling and the casinos and the nice food and the nice girls and the weather. Because you're not in a desert, even though you're in the desert, you're in the casinos. And you go to Caesars and Bellagio. I mean, that's the attraction, but you're just going to vacation there. You could live there. I know there's some of you who live in Vegas, but it's getting expensive. It's getting over market, but that's why you live there. Okay, but what's going to draw me to Saudi Arabia? I mean, like they say, there's all these strange laws and there's their freedom, and I'm not a Saudi, so how am I going to be treated? And how am I going to make money there? I mean, the whole thing, it's like working at Ford. If your name's not Ford, you're not going anywhere in the company. If you're not Bin Laden or whatever this guy's name is, I love when they use letters, like who the fuck knows what that means? Muhammad Ali, we'll call him. And if you're not in the Muhammad Ali family, you're not doing anything. So there's big problems there. And Trump goes and wants $1 trillion from them. Where are they going to get it? They're wasting it on themselves. And at the end of the day, how does it benefit them? They'll buy chips, whatever, but they're not going to do this for Trump. Or if they do, it's going to be over 20 years or something. But I can't see why they would do it. They don't want our money for the oil in the first place. They're selling oil to China, so they're selling their oil. Their budget is $96 a barrel of oil to break even on their budget, and we're at 77 or something like that. So they're in big trouble. They're going broke, just like everybody else, even though they have all the oil money. It's don't spend it stupidly, which is taking Alyssa out and she buys these drinks, the alcohol, and I'm like, but I don't want to spend my money like that. See, it's hard for non-finance people to understand that. Don't buy I'll buy you a bottle of liquor and drink that. I mean, this is crazy. And this is the problem, right? I don't want to spend my money. I'll take you to a restaurant, just eat. That's it. We're here to eat, not to drink $8 drinks. That's the point. When I was with Carmen and we went to LA, she'd do the same thing with $20 drinks. Now, when we went to Disney or the other Universal, that was fine. That I'll spend my money on that. That's worth spending the money on, even though it was getting expensive, because you go there once, in your life, or a couple of times. But to go to a restaurant and get $20 drinks, that's wasting $40. I don't like to do that. I'm very money conscious because I know that's freedom. And if I spend my money, how am I going to get it back? I can't. So I'm screwed if I spend my money on stupid things. If I spend it on gold and silver, that was a great investment. If I spend it on alcohol, it's a stupid investment. So that's why I got to be careful. have one drink and that's fine. But that's because I never get pop at the restaurant. That's stupid. But yeah, I don't like when people do that to you and they just, take advantage. Oh, we're eating. Oh, I'll get 2 drinks. Like, no, you won't. Not if you want to go out with me again. You're not going to get 2 drinks. And I don't care. That's just the way I am about if I'm paying. If you want to pay for your drinks, be my guest. Pay for them. I'm not. Go to the grocery store and get wine or liquor, and you can get a bottle probably for $10. You can get Canadian Club. You can get this just a regular. I think for $17 for a 750 or a liter. Well, go drink whiskey for a month. I mean, but that's the thing. You got to spend your money wisely, and that's what I try to teach. Is you don't want to be in stocks because you're not spending your money wisely, or in Bitcoin, you're not spending your money wisely. Gold is perfect because you're going to make money. You can't lose in it. And that's the point of it. All right, let's see where our gold's at. So now it's 1:30. It'll kind of just flatline the rest of the day. Let's see where we're at. Ooh, 33.15. We had a nice jump. So you can see we're 33s. Now, what I like about this is we're finally out of the 32, 60s, and 80s. We're now, every time you go to 33 and you break 3,300, now we should stay there. And I'll be shocked if we see 31.30 or 32.30 now. Now we're in the 33s and it's really not going down. So now I think we'll see 34 by Friday. Silver 33.44. I mean, notice this is the thing I have. 43 cents, and this is $32. Well, why buy silver? And, these people with the 10-to-1 ratios and everything, it's just stupid. The 10-to-1 ratio doesn't mean anything. It's not free market, it's paper. And again, so a physical gold is 33.15 to me is 30 added at times 10. So it's $30,000. Because what are these drops? When you get to physical, you're not going to get the drop. Nobody's going to sell their gold. You sell an ounce because you need to pay a bill or a medical or you go on a vacation. Otherwise, you're not selling your gold. You don't profit take it because what are you going to get it? You're going to go back into toilet paper, monopoly money. So you don't want to. That's why you Rumpelstiltskin this for gold. It's not to get back into this, as I show on the Titanic. You're not getting the ship sinking. You go to the lifeboat. Well, you're not going to get out of the lifeboat to go back in the ship. So why would you get out of gold to go back into paper unless it's something that is a bill or a vacation that you need the money to use it for that, and that's it. So 33.15, 33.43. Let's check Bitcoin. I don't even really care. I mean, it's just fake. It was like 105 yesterday. It's 107 today. It's not real. See, I don't even worry about it. I know it's not real. So I really don't worry about Bitcoin. We get the one guy who's crying because you kept me out of Bitcoin. Yeah, you'll be happy if you bought gold. Don't worry, it'll far outseed it. And the Dow's taking a beating down 840, 41.8. How it's at 41 is all fake. It's Ponzi scheme. It's made off, so it's really not there. So as we can see, are you more comfortable in gold going up and silver about to go up? Now that'll be July 1st when it's Basel III, which means I'll have to cover the derivatives. See, right now they don't cover the options; they're the derivatives. So when you sell silver and then I buy it, I'm asking for delivery. You're not delivering it because you don't have to. That's what Basel III does. It makes you deliver the gold and the silver. And in this game, you don't have any to deliver. You got to go buy it, or you got to quit the game. So if you're going to stay in comex, you've got to get it. So the only reason people are buying in comex, and it even exists, because it's so much cheaper than the real market, right? The gold at 33.15 is nowhere near the real price of physical gold. But people don't understand it. They see COMEX, they go, oh, well, that's the price of gold. No, it's not the price of gold. It's not the real price of physical gold. And to do options or to do ETFs, you got to be out of your mind. ETFs, you'll never get the physical. And the ETF will go to zero because it's in paper, in all paper, stocks, ETFs, annuities, in the money in the bank, will all, the real estate trust, they'll all go to zero. Well, they'll get hurt deeply, right? So we know that's going to happen. So why would you do it? Buy physical and just, I don't understand this guy in Saudi Arabia, Muhammad Ali Jr. or whatever, wants to go and buy, make this whole city. Well, what's your return on investment? They talk ROI. What do you think your return on investments? You have no idea. You thought it would be 170 kilometers. It's 2 kilometers. You thought there'd be 1 trillion people or 1 million people. There might be 20,000 people, if you can even find that many who actually want to live there. I want a house with a backyard. I like chipping golf club. I don't want to live in a cage. I mean, basically that's what it is, and in the middle of the fucking desert. So this is the problem he has. Why didn't you just buy gold? Why are you doing business with Larry Fink, giving your money to him for stocks? What are you doing? Well, we'll make money in the stock. No, you won't. You're going to lose your ass. So Saudi's really fucked all over the place. Now, I'm sure they have some gold, I would assume. But again, you don't know. And that's the thing with gold. You just never know who has it and how much, because nobody knows how much I have. And Luke and Bobby and Prophet and David, nobody knows how much you have. So how do they know how much a bank has? They don't. They kind of do shadow. You don't know how much Putin has. You don't know how much China has, because if you look at central bank, they have 2,000 tons. Putin's got over 20, probably 25, and China's got 60,000 tons. But you don't know that. You don't. It's not reported like that, so you don't have a clue. There is no more gold or silver. I would assume there's no more gold or silver left. All you can do is if I go to my guy's store and buy, because he has it from somebody who came in to sell it, right? So a guy comes in, he says, I need money. Here's 3 ounces and some 1/4 ounces of gold. And now my guy's got 3.25 ounce to sell. That's where he's getting it from, the buyer. But otherwise, and he's selling because he's got to pay bills. He's got to eat. He's got to pay taxes or whatever. That's the difference. And that's where the problem lies. So there is no new gold. The mines are already, 3,000 tons they produce is gone. And China's buying everything. And so is India. And so is Russia. And I believe Saudi Arabia is also. I'm confused if they're in BRICS or not. It doesn't really matter. Just the fact BRICS is buying gold and they're going on a gold-backed system with or without Saudi Arabia doesn't matter. Trump's too stupid to join BRICS. Bassett is a Soros guy, so he wants the U.S. to collapse. He's doing a good job collapsing it. You can see the U.S. is having trouble. They're begging Saudi Arabia and Qatar to buy military goods. They're not at war. What are you kidding me? Why is the Russian-Ukrainian war will never fucking end? Daria's got her appointment tomorrow for her sore under her, I guess, nose or cheek. So I haven't heard from her. She gets, but I'm learning. She gets depressed, so she doesn't want to talk to anybody. So at first I took it personally. Well, you love me. Why aren't you talking to me? Turns into, well, it's not you, it's me. And that's what stoic is. I can't control Daria talking to me. And I can't read into, well, if she loved me, she'd talk to me, or she's online. But she's made that clear. Sometimes I'm at the Dasha and there's no internet. I can read that you're sending me, but I can't respond to you. The internet isn't good. Okay. So I understand that. So it's not me. That's not why she's not talking to me. It's she's in a situation where she's either depressed over the operation or at a cottage where there's no internet. Oh, okay. So all I can do is be stoic and say, have a nice day and, move on to that. Good luck on the operation. And then wait for her, So the operation's tomorrow. So I'm expecting a text when it's over if they do it. Last time they didn't do it because there was too many people came in who actually paid for the medical, and Daria is using it free, so she must have some discount where she doesn't have to pay for the surgery. But if the doctor gets clients who pay, they're taking them first. So hopefully she can get in and get it over with, and that's what I keep telling her. Just think it'll be done with and over with, and then you can move on without worrying about this. But I understand why she's worried. If I had to get an operation, I'd be worried too. There's a little stress that comes in just because it's new and different, and going to a doctor's. Nobody likes that. You go with pain and you hope it's nothing, right? So that's where you're at with it. So buy our gold, buy our silver. It's going to move as much as you can afford. But see, this is where I'm at. Instead of buying drinks at dinner, I'd rather buy silver. So she got two $8 drinks, $16. Okay. I couldn't have bought silver's like 35, but I could have used it for the silver. But that's the point. When I pay $40 for dinner, I could have bought silver, but I still got to eat. So that's okay. But if it's, a lot of money, I don't do that. I mean, it's really hard because I want to use my money that way because I can see the benefit. I buy the silver or a quarter ounce of gold, and I know it's gonna, it's gonna double and triple. I mean, I bought it at 1700. Now it's 3,300. So, we're all making good money. That's not even the point. We're out of the dollar. So instead of having all that money in the bank, I got all that money in gold and silver. The difference is I just don't recognize it. So if it goes to 3,500 and I make $200, well, let's say from 3130, 3230. So I just made $200 times, let's say I have 100 ounces. If I have 100 ounces and I make 200, I just made $20,000. And but because you don't actually get the 20, you don't actually recognize it, but you keep score and you go, oh, now my money's worth more. And that's all you can do. So with that, Saudi Arabia is in big trouble with this. It just shows you if you are doing anything, you make sure there's demand for it first, and you make sure what the market is and what they will pay. And if the market is here, you better be here. Don't get fancy and I'm going to sell it for here and hope I get the customers, and you're not going to get them. So, when they start selling steaks, I see they've moved them up at my store to $15, $16. It's like, forget about it. It's not at 15, 16. You're over the, I want to pay 10 or 11. I'll pay a little bit more if I really want the steak, but I'm running to the chicken and now the fish is usually a salmon. It's like sometimes I can get it for $10 to $12 a pound. Then I might get a pound, but I can't get a lot of it because you can't keep it in the freezer and you can't eat that much of it. It's just not healthy. So you eat a pound, once in a while. It's Memorial Weekend this weekend. I got a roast that I'm going to make. It's a little over 3 pounds of English roast or whatever. And I got to be careful how I eat that. I don't want to eat too much too fast. So I kind of make it and then cut it up and then have like it's a hamburger. And keep my eggs and keep my veggies, very important. I got to get some dark chocolate. I ran out, and then you start getting cravings for chocolate. So I've been a good boy since I did my 70-hour fast, and I haven't gotten any like cupcakes and ice cream. I've been very careful about that, but I want to I'm still going to 70-hour fast because it's healthy. It's the cleaning lady comes in and cleans your body and gets rid of all the defects and all the problem cells. So I highly recommend it. And again, you can have water with ginger and cinnamon and coffee and tea and all that with the cinnamon. This is cinnamon, not dirty. With the cinnamon, and you drink a lot of that. I drink probably 3 cups of coffee or tea and probably 3 to 4 glasses of water because you're hungry. You're not eating it. But I just did that a few weeks ago. So probably do that. Well, we got Memorial Weekend. I'm not going to do it, but maybe, I don't know, a week or two later as we get into June and start going to the lake and walking a little bit more. So that's what you have. You want to be healthy so you can enjoy. And so it's like you don't smoke and then wonder why you got cancer or you had problems. Don't smoke. So you're going to have problems if you hold this or buy stocks or buy real estate trust or buy Bitcoin. So don't buy it and buy the gold. You're going to be broke if you hold euros. So you get out of euros. You need enough to do your monthly spending, right? 2,000, 3,000 a month for food, rent, whatever, medical, the car, the gas, the insurance. Okay, I gotta have that. But then after that, like going out to the restaurant, I could buy 2 ounces of silver. I'm going to buy 2 ounces of silver and I'll eat at home. And you make the trade off because in the long run, the silver is better than eating at I can cook better than they can cook, and I can cook cheaper than they can. So I just assume make steaks and make chicken, then go out to the restaurant. But anyway, that's my point of view. So I'm going to suggest that with Alyssa next time. Hey, let's go buy a bottle. What do you want? Gin? Whatever you want. Let's go to the store and I'll buy you a big bottle. Will be better than you ordering $8 drinks. I can buy you a bottle for $15 and you can get drinks for 5 meals, right? So that's really, I want to spend my money wisely because once it's gone, you're fucked. Right? How are you going to replace it? I don't understand retirement. People, keep your money in the stocks and get dividends. And keep your money in the stocks, and then the stocks will, of course, always go up, even though we're in a depression because of these tariffs. Nobody connects the dots, and nobody understands variables better than me. So you've got to understand when the variables change. If Tom Brady's not there, where you can't bet New England anymore. You got tariffs. You can't the stocks aren't going to keep going up because companies will make less money because the cost have went up. So they're going to charge you more. So their profits will go down. Now you got inflation. So it's really tricky because the dollar's not worth as much. It looks better than it is because you're selling it higher. People need it and they're buying it. And then they get more money for it, but then their costs have gone up. So if they beat earnings, it's really fake because it's inflation, inflated earnings, which we know is money printing and not costs going up. So anyway, just be careful of the stock market. You're not going to win in the stock market now. You're going to win in gold. So what do you want to be in? It's a no-brainer. You want to bet on Mahomes or you want to bet on Lamar? Well, I want to bet on Mahomes. I know Mahomes is going to win. I know Lamar is going to lose a big game, so I really don't want anything to do with them. And that's really what you got to understand. It's that's why you bet on Mahomes. That's why you bet on Joe Burrow. These are winners. These guys can win. Joe Montana and stuff like that. Jimmy Johnson, Bill Parcells, Lawrence Taylor. I know I'm not giving up any points. So be smart. That's who you want to be. And right now, gold is Lawrence Taylor, right? Silver's, gold's Joe Montana, Tom Brady, Taylor, Nitschke, Franco Harris, and Joe Green, and everybody. Those are the gold teams, and that's what we're always looking for. And that's how you make money, just buying gold. So if you just buy gold and that's it. I don't know anybody. Well, how about real estate? Just you're going to make a ton in gold. Just relax. It's going to happen like that. All of a sudden, the swimming pool is going to fill, right? Or as Egon said, the stadium was 7%, and then in the last 5 minutes, it went to 100%. So that's all you got to understand. It is real. That's is what's going to happen. Just look at the Romans. Just if you ever have doubts, just look at the Romans. And if they couldn't succeed, who the hell can? So it gets corrupt. We're corrupt. You got Caesar going from a republic to an empire, which means now we have a dictator. Well, we got Biden dictator, Trump dictator. They're just doing executive orders. Well, that's not government checks and balances. You got to get it through the Congress and the Senate, and they got to vote on it, and then it passes. They're not doing that. They're just, I'm doing executive order. Well, that's now we're in the empire, and we know what happens in the empire. You can say bye-bye. You get a Julius Caesar who was good, but then bye-bye. Then you're going to get Adolf Hitler coming, and in the next election. So it only lasts 4 years with Trump, and he's screwing it up pretty good. Then who are you going to get then? Another Hitler, another Stalin, and then we're really fucked. So that's why Trump's doing a lot, because he knows he only has 4 years. And it doesn't matter if he has the House and Senate, he's not doing anything to put it through. So we're in a very dangerous time right now. And I'm saying buy your gold, because I don't think there's any gold out there. So buy it and get the hell out of dollars or euros. Get out of the stock market. If you made profit, take it. If you didn't make profit, take your loss and buy gold, and you'll make up for it with the gold. It's all you can do. And silver will jump July 1st or thereabouts. Basel 3 will hit. So I don't know what this girl is saying. It's not going to hit. Like, be careful who you listen to. And if you hear somebody, I'd come back to me, and we'll talk about it. But I watch all these idiots, like I said, Rick Root and Rickard. They're all a bunch of idiots. Again, the only one I really trust is Egon, and then a little Mark McGuire when he doesn't have guests. When he has guests, I don't even watch it. It's not worth watching. And people don't understand gold, and they don't understand silver. They don't understand the price is fixed by comex. They don't even understand any of it. And when you tell them, they don't want to hear. They don't want to hear. They're going to go broke. So anyway, have a good day. www.teaserking.com. I should see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday. Memorial Day, I'll probably be on. The pool's open until 1:30, so I'll probably go in the morning. And then until I can be with Daria in Russia, it's not. Then I'll do family things, but I can't. So it's really frustrating for me on the holidays. I would prefer to have a family day out, but that ain't happening here. Anyway, so have a good day, everybody. www.teaserking.com. If you want to email me, please do. And I please ask comments like Dave and Prophet do, and Nick and Luke, Bobby. Where's Bobby? Bobby, where are you? I haven't seen you in a while. I assume you're watching it at night. Were you playing baseball for like a AAA league or something? All right. Well, have a good day, everybody. Take care. All right. Bye.